and they do something called Go Noodle. When they say happy llama, sad llama, totally rad llama, they just dance and sing songs and bounce around and get their exercise inside. G-Man told me that his kids went outside yesterday. I guess somebody with Shelby County Schools made a bad call and let the kids go outside. Nobody melted, which was good, but they weren't out there long. You're not going to be out there long. It's like a sauna, but more disgusting. Seriously, it's more disgusting than a sauna with old dudes in it who are stretching with no towels. That's how gross it is outside at 112, 115 degree heat index. You can have it. All right, today on the program, we will talk less about old men in the sauna and more about why is Fredo the number one trending topic on Twitter. That's a very difficult turn of phrase. Number one trending topic on Twitter, Fredo. Fredo, hashtag Fredo, as in Fredo Corleone. It's past hashtag Epstein suicide. It's past the hashtag Clinton body count. It's trending number one. It's over hashtag Hong Kong. And we'll talk about all those things. We'll talk about the Epstein suicide, more details on that. Many questions remain, and more conspiracies about Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire financier, the accused sex trafficker, and his connections to powerful billionaires and politicians, found dead in his prison cell on Saturday morning. There are more details into the death of Jeffrey Epstein, which is not trending, by the way. Fredo is trending. Jeffrey Epstein's not trending anymore. And also, what is going on in Hong Kong? Protests, violent riots in the airport in Hong Kong. They've had to cancel all the flights. How did it get this way seemingly so quickly? They're in Hong Kong over the past month or so. Things have really deteriorated between Hong Kong and Beijing. Now, Hong Kong is part of China, so why is Hong Kong fighting with China? Well, it's complicated. We got into it a little bit yesterday. We'll get into it more as things escalate there in Hong Kong. And also today on the program, we will tackle this compelling discussion. Can dogs be racist? And is it on you to make sure your dog is not racist? If your dog is in fact racist, we will establish a few things. This is a story out of Collierville. We have a seemingly racist dog situation. So we will get into that. We'll also hop on the news cruise. Got some updates on the Curtis Ray Watson manhunt. He's been brought to justice, and he will stand trial for murder. But who's getting the reward money? I have an idea who might get at least some of it, if not all of it. But they're trying to figure that out now. So we'll get into that in the news cruise as well. I started my day. Look, things went great. First day of school, picked up the girls. Everybody said their day was great. Eva, my second grader, she's a veteran. I knew she'd be fine. She walked right out of the school, and I said, hey, let's go get your little sister, Olivia. Let's go get her because I'm going to have Eva go get Olivia. Olivia's in kindergarten. They keep them corralled until you come get them. You can't just leave if you're in kindergarten. You have to be gotten. You have to be received by a parent or a sibling. Right? So we did that whole deal. Olivia gets out of a little kindergarten corral. She gets out of kindergarten jail. I said, how was it, Olivia? How was your first day of kindergarten? She says, awesome. So I'm like, oh, this is great. My kids had a great first day of kindergarten. Now, my younger daughter, Olivia, in kindergarten, is doing this thing called a staggered start. She's going one day this week. She went. She's done with kindergarten for the week. So the rest of the week, she's staying home. Well, she's staying home with my mother-in-law, who is now in town. And I love it when my mother-in-law visits because my kids love her. She's a great lady. They do all kinds of stuff. They get along so well. That said, my mother-in-law is from a place called Peachtree City, Georgia. It's kind of like a bubble. It's kind of like a planned community south of Atlanta. So, they have the way they do things in Peachtree City. She was also a teacher. All right, so she has opinions on the way schools are run and the way that kids should go to school, be prepared for school, all these things. So we talk about school a lot with her, seeing how she's a retired teacher. Well, this morning, second day of school for Eva, second day of second grade, getting her ready. Everything's going great until we get an email. The email reads that Riverdale Elementary, where my kids go to school, has been put on lockdown. And this has happened before a few times. They go in a soft lockdown every now and again. Just as a precaution, say if Germantown police have some business in the area. Let's say they are pursuing suspects over at the Howard McVeigh area. If you know that area, it is just south of Poplar Pike, over by the train tracks, not far from the lumber yard. You've got McVeigh. It kind of goes down a hill in Doglegs right, and on the left, there is Howard McVeigh Park. So there were some suspects, some shenanigans ongoing this morning. GPD was in pursuit of suspects, and we've got the Germantown Police Department on Facebook. They have released the following. At approximately 3:50 a.m., early, Germantown officers observed a male subject in the area of Howard McVeigh Park wearing a mask and gloves. The subject fled when approached, at which time officers established a perimeter. Officers subsequently located a stolen vehicle parked on McVeigh Manor Cove and detained the female occupant. The subject who fled officers was located at approximately 6:30 a.m. and taken into custody near Poplar Pike in Burford-I. I used to live on Burford-I. A third subject was seen on home video in the area. Officers have not yet been able to locate the third subject. He is described as a male black wearing black sweatpants, white t-shirt, and a light-colored backpack. Germantown Municipal Schools were notified of the abundance of caution. Activity related to this call occurred south of Poplar Pike. Charges on suspects are pending. This remains an active investigation, I guess, for the third subject. So that said, you had some people who were breaking into houses, stealing stuff over in South Germantown, over at Howard McVeigh Park. So, school gets placed on lockdown, and my wife and I are just nonchalantly discussing this. Say, babe, you see that email? School's on lockdown. She's like, okay, what's going on? I said, I have some shenanigans down at Howard McVeigh, and she's like, that's nowhere near here. Well, I talked to Wolfman, because Wolfman is my set of ears on the street. Wolfman knows everybody. He calls everybody. He makes no bones about it. Wolfman is a taxpayer, and he will get his answers. So Wolfman makes some calls, and he kind of gave me the rundown of what happened. He said, yeah, some cops were just patrolling. They were just out cruising, and they spotted a guy looking shifty over at that park, and he runs away, jumps in the bushes, and they're like, all right, that guy's up to no good. Then they went and they found the female suspect who was in a car at a cove, and she had some items that had been stolen from some people in the area. And so they said, Germantown police, they placed the school on lockdown over at Riverdale because there were kids who were getting on buses. And as they were trying to get these suspects rounded up, they didn't want the kids who were at the bus stops to get in the way, or be in the middle of it, or be in any danger, or have to witness the cops setting up a perimeter and kind of converging on these suspects. So, abundance of caution. School is placed on lockdown. Now, if you're me, or you're my wife, and we are familiar with Germantown GPD, by the way, those guys, they are well-staffed. They have all the resources they need, and they are just hanging out and waiting for somebody to do something like this. All right? You have to be a moron if you want to step into G-Town and start ripping people off. But it happens more often than we like. Well, there's a lot of people right there over in the Kirby area. You know, there's just kind of like a little area where people will jump over from Memphis or jump up and steal stuff, right? So, we've got GPD just waiting for people to come start committing crimes. And again, these are guys who, I mean, it's on. You come and start committing crime in G-Town, they're going to get you. They're going to catch you. So my wife and I know this. We're like, yeah, Germantown's great. Germantown Police Department's great. They're going to get the guy. So somebody out stealing stuff. We weren't worried at all. But then you've got my mother-in-law who's in town. And she's a teacher, right? So when a school goes on lockdown, that's a big deal. Nobody in, nobody out. If kids are out, they have to be coming. Nobody can visit. I mean, lockdown, think about it. With no context, somebody says, hey, the school's on lockdown. You're freaking out. You're thinking, oh my God, what's happening? I mean, with recent current events, you're thinking, oh my God, lockdown, active shooter in the area. Are the children in danger? Well, in this case, no. And we knew that. We had that context. But my mother-in-law, she's going, wait, school's on lockdown? What's going on? I mean, because I live right by the school. So I just kind of told her, I said, look, there's some shenanigans going on a couple of neighborhoods away, a couple miles away, like south of Poplar Pike. Like, we are insulated from that. And I'm guarantee you, these are just people going and breaking into folks' sheds and whatnot. So, but they caught the guy, at least one of the guys, or two of the three. There's some unsettled business. Wolfman had his generator stolen a few months back, and so they're still looking for that guy. But it wasn't him, because Wolfman knows. He knows who to call and who to talk to. So, I mean, there was a little excitement this morning. There were people on Twitter. And again, people on Twitter need to calm down. When a police department, whether it's MPD, GPD, Bartlett Police Department, Collierville, whatever, people are like, what's going on? Does anybody know what's going on? Why won't they tell us what's going on? Is it because they're professionals? And they're not just going to start leaking information to people on Twitter? How about that? How about they're going to wrap up their investigation, they're going to secure the area, and then they're going to release the information in an orderly fashion? You know, there was somebody on Twitter today was, why do we have to wait for a press release to know what's going on in our own neighborhood? And it's like, because they want to make sure you have the right information from the right source. But I'm a vet. I've lived in Germantown a lot of my life, so I was like, hey man, you just need to chill out. It's going to be fine. Everybody's good. We're all good. We're in one of the safest places in the state. Everything's fine. So that was the big story today. Riverdale Elementary placed on lock this morning. I mean, to me and people in the area. If the story bored you, I'm sorry. We're going to get to all the fun stuff. Hong Kong, Jeffrey Epstein suicide, more details on that. Coming up, I'm going to tell you why hashtag Fredo. Fredo, yeah, as in Fredo Corleone from The Godfather. Hashtag Fredo is trending on Twitter. And this has to do with Chris Cuomo from CNN losing his cool on camera over being called Fredo. Nobody wants to be a Fredo. Nobody, but it's what he says Fredo means is what's got people talking. And we're going to talk about that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's The Retirement Income Doctor, hosted by Dave McAdams of the McAdams Group. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade in any kind of market. That's right, the Retirement Income Doctor will teach you these strategies. So join us Saturday mornings at 10 for the Retirement Income Doctor.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
Hey, are you pregnant and need health insurance?
Yes, I'm really in need of insurance.
Have you heard of the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program?
No, what is that?
It's a program where pregnant women can get 62 days of temporary Medicaid insurance coverage.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Thanks.
For more information regarding the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-545-8722 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by the Tennessee Department of Health.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com. All
right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. The Listen Live link is in the top right corner. That's one way to listen. Actually, that's three way to listens. Listens to me. FM 107.9 on the FM. That's one way to listens. AM 990. That's another way to listen. And then online. And then we've also got, you can watch the show on the YouTube channel. That's Nation of Jake on YouTube. One word, Nation of Jake. You can also follow along on the Facebook and the Twitter. You can do that. Now, on Twitter right now, it's a confusing place because we've just got this news from the weekend that Jeffrey Epstein was suicided. Epstein, you might call him. I always get confused because when you say Epstein, I immediately think of Welcome Back, Kotter. I'm like, Epstein. That said, that's still a story. I mean, there's still a lot of questions to be answered about the hashtag Epstein suicide. Hashtag Hong Kong is also something very important. We'll talk about what's going on in Hong Kong. People in Hong Kong right now are upset. They want freedom. They are flying the American flag. They are begging for a Second Amendment. They are singing the U.S. national anthem in Hong Kong right now. We'll figure out why exactly that's going on. Last time I checked, Hong Kong was part of China. So we will talk about the important stories. But the number one trending topic on the Twitter right now is Fredo. Maybe it's fallen to number two. Number one is something else. I don't know what it is. That's just in Memphis. I think nationally, hashtag Fredo is still trending. Now, this just came out last night. Fredo. And you know who Fredo is. Fredo Corleone from The Godfather. Fredo. Well, what's a Fredo? Well, he's the worst son. He was the worst one of the Corleones. And he had Sonny Corleone, the hothead, played by James Caan. I liked Sonny. Michael Corleone, the young one, the Marine, the even-keel one, cool-headed, didn't want to be about that life, but he was the one, Al Pacino, who took over. All right? And then you had Fredo, the disappointment. He was disloyal. He was a snitch. The worst of the Corleones was Fredo. So it's an insult for sure to be called Fredo. Well, somebody in a video, I mean, we don't know who this guy is, but there's a video of CNN anchor Chris Cuomo that went viral Monday night. It shows him cursing and threatening a man who apparently taunted the host by calling him Fredo. The video originally surfaced on the YouTube channel. That's the point with Brandon. It begins in the midst of a confrontation, which allegedly took place on Sunday, with the man telling Cuomo, "I thought that's who you were." I've got the audio here. The audio has been sanitized because it would violate all kinds of FCC rules. Because Chris Cuomo, while on TV as an anchor on CNN, he speaks well, and he doesn't use the kind of language that he was using in this confrontation. Let's take a listen, shall we?
I thought that's who you were. No, punk bitches from the right call me Fredo. My name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN. You're much. Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother. Isn't that your brother? And they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's a f***ing insult to your people. It's an insult to your f***ing people. It's like the N-word for us. Insult you? You call me Fredo. It's like I call you punk bitch. You like that? You want that to be your nickname? I didn't call you that. You called me Fredo. You know my name's not Fredo. I thought your name was. You did not think my name was Fredo. Don't be a liar. I thought your name was. I'll throw you down these stairs like a punk.
All right, so Chris Cuomo is approached, I'm guessing, by a guy He is called Fredo. He obviously does not like being called Fredo, and who would? I mean, it's an insult, right? So he gets mad, and then you hear Chris Cuomo off camera talk, you call me Fredo? Oh, you call me Fredo? I thought you down the stairs. You call me Fredo? Oh, he goes a little bit roid rage, doesn't he? I mean, he gets real mad, really upset. It's not necessarily just because he is being confronted by somebody. It's because he was triggered by being called Fredo. Look, I don't blame Chris Cuomo for getting mad. He was out with his family, including his 9-year-old daughter. And listen, I have a radio show. It's not as big as Chris Cuomo's show on CNN. That said, if I was out with my kids and my wife, having a good time, and somebody started picking with me, calling me names, I wouldn't take offense to Fredo. It just doesn't really work with me. I'm not the worst of my family. I'm like the Michael or the Sonny. I know Sonny was a hothead. I'm not the Fredo. I'm definitely not Fredo. That said, I wouldn't let them know that it bothered me so much. But if anybody was taunting me, I would probably get mad. I would probably give them a piece of my mind, and then I'd move on. I mean, I probably wouldn't threaten any physical harm on somebody. But listen, he called the guy Fredo. He did it on camera. He was trying to get a rise out of Chris Cuomo, and he got it. All right, so I don't blame Chris Cuomo for getting upset. It's probably not the best idea to give them what they want, to give them the fight, because you know that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to bait you. They're trying to get you angry, and they're trying to get their viral video. All right, so the guy who took the video and started harassing Chris Cuomo, he's not a good guy in this. I don't think it's funny or cute to go out and provoke people in public. That said, I don't blame Chris Cuomo for getting mad about it either. He got really upset. The problem I have with what Chris Cuomo did is he equates Fredo Corleone, he equates Fredo with the N-word. And there are people who are actually running with this. I'm almost certain that Italian guys really don't like to be called Fredo, but nobody would. Fredo Corleone is a fictional character. The character happened to be Italian because The Godfather is about an Italian mob family. Don Corleone and Sonny and the Consigliere and all that stuff. He has an Italian name because the character was Italian. Now, I'm sure that Italian people don't like being called Fredo in that context of Chris Cuomo is the brother of who? Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. Chris Cuomo's on CNN. His father is Mario. Mario allegedly called Chris the dumb brother, which would make him the Fredo. I mean, you know, they're both successful. Andrew and Chris. I don't know how many other Cuomos there are. It's not a perfect analogy because all the Cuomos are kind of dumb. And the Corleones, I mean, Mike was smart, right? That said, I'm sure that it stings a little bit to be called Fredo. Well, you don't be called Fredo, but don't equate it to being a racial slur. It's not a slur against Italians. It's a slur against anybody. You got somebody at work who's disloyal, who ratted you out. That's a Fredo. You got a brother who's weak and he's like a bad son or a bad family member. He's a Fredo. You Fredo, that's what that means. It has nothing to do with it. Just so happens it's an Italian name because so I really don't have to explain this to you. That said, I mean, how insulting is it? On the other side, on the flip side, Chris Cuomo saying, "Yeah, it's like the N-word to us." You're like, hold on, no, it can't be. It can't be. That's reductive. That kind of equates a movie reference with hundreds of years of African Americans being called the N-word and being abused verbally with that hate, and you're gonna equate being called Fredo with that. That people should be upset about that. But instead, CNN, they're standing behind Chris Cuomo. He got mad and threatened to throw somebody down the stairs. CNN says it fully supported It's primetime anchor Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo defended himself when he was verbally attacked with the use of an ethnic slur in an orchestrated setup. We completely support him. It was not an ethnic slur. It's not an ethnic slur. It's nowhere near the N-word. It can't be. Here's why. You've had people use Fredo to describe guys like Donald Trump Jr. CNN contributor Anna Navarro referred to Trump as Fredo. She's done that on CNN. Hell, Chris Cuomo referred to himself as Fredo in a radio interview on Sirius XM or something like that. No, it was on AM 970 in New York. Now, he was talking about his brother, Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York. He said, oh, well, who am I then, Fredo? If it was like the N-word, you can't use it. You can't use it to describe anybody. You can't do that. Well, maybe other Italians can use it, right? I guess like rappers can use the N-word if they want. Like, who are you to tell a black guy you can't use the N-word? I don't care. I don't care what words you use, whatever. But don't go making these false equivalencies. Fredo, Chris Cuomo. What other fictional characters can we double now as racial epithets? I went through some of them. I don't know. I mean, what's the equivalent Fredo? What's the equal? What's the corresponding Fredo for, like, say, Scottish people? Macbeth. You call a Scottish guy Macbeth. How dare you call me Macbeth? That's like the N-word. Macbeth was a villain. He tried to kill Flint's. Macduff was the hero. How dare you? How dare you call me Macbeth? I get my Scottish accent from Scrooge McDuck. That's like the only... that's the only Scottish accent I can do, and I get into it, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I guess Macbeth. Go around call... You can't call a Scottish guy Macbeth. Maybe... I don't know. They're this difficult. Reek from Game of Thrones is just like Fredo. He was the adopted Stark brother, Theon Greyjoy, and then he turned against him, burned up Winterfell, and then he was made into a slave by Ramsay Bolton, and they renamed him Reek. I mean, Reek is Fredo. That said, nobody's from Westeros, because Westeros is fictional. I mean, I guess maybe you'd call an English guy Reek. Hey, Reek. Hey, Reek. Hey, you like Reek, right? It's a Reek over here. Right. How dare you call me Reek? To my people, it's like the N-word. You can't call me Reek. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I got a really good suggestion. It doesn't quite work. My buddy JR, who's Indian, family from India, he says that Apu. Yeah, I can see that. Very reductive if you called an Indian guy dismissively Apu, because Apu from The Simpsons. We talked all about the whole problem with Apu, right? He worked at the Quickie Mart. I can see that being reductive. However, Apu is cool, man. Apu is nowhere near a Fredo. Apu is great. That said, I mean, it would probably be racist to call somebody Apu dismissively, condescendingly. It's all about context. And then I guess the best suggestion I got, Daniel, he says that Jar Jar Binks from the Phantom Menace. Was it the Phantom Menace? Yeah, Jar Jar, which, I don't know, Jamaicans or something. Jar Jar was an alien, and in some weird accent, I don't know, whatever, who cares? But the Jar Jar thing made me laugh because, again, are people going to start saying, oh yeah, you called me something I don't like, therefore it's as bad as you being a racist? We're talking about a movie. We're talking about The Godfather. Fredo. I knew it was you. You broke my heart. Mwah! Take him out in the lake. Shoot him. So that's why Fredo, #Fredo, was number one on Twitter. Now, to his credit, Chris Cuomo says, thank you for the support, but I should be better than that. I shouldn't give them what they want. He made a whole mea culpa kind of deal. Listen, don't apologize for getting angry at somebody accosting you during your family time, bro. The problem is when you made that giant Stretch Armstrong stretch by equating being called Fredo to being called the N-word. It's like the N. Let's listen again to the audio.
I thought that's who you were. No, punk bitches from the right call me Fredo. My name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN. Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother. Isn't that your brother? And they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian?
No, they don't use it as an Italian aspersion. You're the weak brother. Don't you get it? Fredo is the weak brother. You are the weak brother. You're on CNN. Your brother's the governor. You're the weak brother. Your dad said you were the dumb brother. You're the Fredo. Nothing to do with you being Italian and everything with you being Cuomo-sexual. So, if anything, different kind of slur altogether. All right, coming up, can your dog be racist? Well, that's what somebody is claiming their dog is racist, and that's why they will not hire black people to clean their house. I'm not making this up. This happened right over in Collierville. We'll talk about that story next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Special Report. Another major merger in the news at this hour involving this company, CBS, as it has finalized a merger with Viacom, an all-stock deal creating an entertainment giant. The merger combines CBS's television stations, television network, and news division with Viacom's strong entertainment presence. More from correspondent Allison Keyes.
Students return to London school.
We'll get back to that report in a minute. There we go.
The combined company will have more than $28 billion in revenue. Viacom owns Paramount Pictures and paid TV channels including Comedy Central, MTV, and BET. CBS, along with its broadcast network and TV stations, also owns Showtime and has a stake in the CW network. CBS was also one of the first media companies to launch its own streaming service, CBS All Access, including a new Star Trek series and a revival of The Twilight Zone.
CBS News.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
This is Clark Howard. If you are a contact lens wearer, you know you're paying so much more for your contact lenses than you were not that many years ago. And the reason is the contact lens industry is basically a price-fixing cartel today. And so the industry has worked heavily to ingratiate itself with doctors to write prescription lenses that are very, very expensive. And most people end up just going to the doctor who does their contact lens examination and have him or her issue their very expensive lenses. But now there are people doing something about it. Costco is doing a huge business with its own lenses called Kirkland Signature, which can save you a ton, including other online sellers discounting. There's also an organization that is very controversial called Hubble, which can save you a ton on your contact lenses.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Welcome back.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake, and also on Facebook and the Twitter at Nation of Jake. Okay, so I read this a little bit earlier. I had no idea about this story, but it turns out the Catholic Diocese has been asked to answer for allegations of racism by a Collierville priest. Okay, so there's been alleged racism by a priest in Collierville, and so they're getting the whole Catholic Diocese involved here. 2 women are alleging that a priest at a Catholic church of the Incarnation in Collierville racially discriminated against one of them by rejecting her as a house cleaner on the basis of race. Why would you do that? In 2019, why would you reject somebody based on race? You get good references from people if the references check out. I mean, there's just no reason for that. However, there might be a reason for her own safety. In a letter, the priest told the Commercial Appeal that he strongly opposed the characterization of his actions as racist, but that his dog is aggressive towards African Americans. Okay, that's interesting. Now, there is a stereotype. You know, growing up, I was told that dogs don't like black people, which is an oversimplification. All right, it's an oversimplification of the dogs that I saw. Like, okay, there is a dog that doesn't like that black guy who happens to be the mailman. Dogs also don't like mailmen, right? But there is that stereotype out there. Okay, and there are some dogs who don't like black people. There's some dogs who don't like white people. But when you talk about dogs in general, there is that out there. And stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason in a lot of cases. Going on, the women are asking that the Catholic Diocese of Memphis more fully investigate their complaint and render a finding of discrimination or the plausibility of discrimination. They're also asking that the Reverend Jasek Cowell, pastor of the church, be disciplined and that the diocese pay them for compensatory damages and attorney's fees. So, this reverend, he rejected one of these women from being a house cleaner because his dog is aggressive towards African Americans, which I could only imagine would be for the safety of the house cleaner. And so what they're saying is they want compensatory damages because of the racist dog. Not only that, they want an investigation. They want discipline. A letter was sent to the diocese in early July laying out the allegations. It seeks settlement and compromise only. Maureen Holland, the attorney representing the women, confirmed the letter's authenticity, and she said she had heard that the diocese will provide an official response in the near future. This is in quotes. The dog doesn't like black people. Cowell said in a letter to the Commercial Appeal he was legitimately concerned his dog could harm the women and that his dog had recently bitten him. As a disciple of Jesus Christ, I wholeheartedly believe all forms of discrimination based upon race or ethnicity are sinful and wrong, Cowell wrote. As a pastor, I have ministered to, employed, and worked with numerous African Americans. Their claim that I didn't want an African American to clean my rectory is simply not true. The diocese itself did not respond to the repeated inquiries about the complaint. According to the letter, the 2 women are employees of Master Building Service Contractors, which also does house cleaning for Cowell. Other employees clean the church and the parish school, according to Nick Sinyago, who owns Master Building Service Contractors with his father. When Emily Weaver, who is white, was reassigned, she took LaShundra Allen, who was black, to Cowell's house to train her as a replacement. There, the women were told by the pastor's secretary, "I'm sorry, we're not trying to be rude, but the dog doesn't like black people," according to the letter from Holland. The office staff said Allen could not clean Cowell's home due to his dog, according to the letter, even after they went to ask Cowell whether the dog could be crated during the cleaning. So that could be hard to hear. I can understand that if you're just being a human about it, right? If somebody is being brought over as a replacement for this house cleaner who happens to be white, and the replacement happens to be black, and a secretary casually tells you, "I'm sorry, the dog doesn't like black people," You can't clean the house. You can't work here because the dog is aggressive towards black people. Hard to hear. Not something you want to hear. However, in the interest of safety, if this guy, Jasek Cal, the Reverend, had turned a blind eye to it, or his secretary said, oh yeah, go on, go ahead, and the dog bit her or attacked her, then you'd have another problem. Not only would you subject yourself to some sort of lawsuit, you would also have somebody who was injured, and you would have prior knowledge that your dog, for whatever reason, is aggressive towards African Americans. I guess the big question here, can a dog be racist? I don't know if that's the right way to characterize it. I think dogs can be conditioned. Now, I don't know a lot about dog psychology. All right, I know that dogs can be trained. They can be untrained. They can learn, they can unlearn, they can be conditioned. I'm not so sure you can say, yeah, we got a racist dog over here. He's just racist in his heart. That kind of thing. I mean, a lot like humans. Humans, you learn racism, right? It's like a dog's going to learn it. I guess it depends on how they learn it. If they are taught to be racist or be aggressive or trained to attack or be aggressive towards black people, then I guess you could call the dog racist. I mean, really, they were trained with racist intent, right? However, if a dog, say, had owners who happened to be black and the dog was mistreated, say, beaten by somebody who was African American, maybe that dog has kind of learned, oh, I know you, and I'm going to be aggressive now. I don't like you. That kind of thing. That said, okay, what if you have a racist dog? What do you do? What do you do? You just want people to be safe, right? I mean, you just don't want people to get hurt. You want to take the path of least resistance. You say, hey, this dog, he's had some experiences, and it's probably not a good idea. Well, maybe we could work something else out. I don't know. It's a tough question, right? I still don't think a dog, in and of itself, running wild out there like a wild pack of dogs, I don't think that they're going to be racist. Because they're dogs. That's why. The women were shocked, humiliated, and felt severely disrespected. In no uncertain terms, Father Jasek knew that an African-American woman was about to clean his home, the letter says. He made no effort to come meet Miss Allen. He made no effort to correct any statement about his dog being a racist. Okay. I guess it's all about communication at this point then. The two church office employees then reiterated that Father Jasek did not want Miss Allen there and that they needed to leave. Both Miss Allen and Miss Weaver were shocked, humiliated, and felt severely disrespected by the treatment and the statement. Sounds like it was handled poorly. The letter says it is quite easy to see the racism in this exchange, including that the dog may not be allowed to be around people of color or may be allowed to be aggressive towards people of color. So you knew you had a racist dog and you didn't take the steps to correct it. What do you do with a racist dog? You send him to a trainer? How much does that cost? I mean, it's a dog. If your dog is racist and poses a danger towards certain people, you could have them trained, spend hundreds or thousands of dollars, which is not 100% to change the dog's behavior, or what? Or just keep people away from the dog who the dog might take issue with and just keep it safe. I don't know. We'll see how I'm going to follow this one. This one is interesting. And there's some more information here. We don't have time for it right now. Although that Cal said in his letter to the Commercial Appeal that the dog he adopted in 2012 had once had a bad experience with a stranger who happened to be African American. Traumatic experience. Had the dog. Since that time, Caesar the dog has been aggressive with strangers until he gets to know them. And this is especially true for strangers that happen to be African American. So, man, the tale of the racist dog in Collierville. You got church, you got racism, you've got a scandal, you got a controversy, you got claims of discrimination and compensatory damages. This story has it all, the tale of the racist dog from just east of Memphis. I'm going to put a pin in that, follow this one, see if a dog can be racist, and if your dog's racist, are you responsible for this dog's racism and bigotry? It's a good question. All right, coming up, A-Rod is an idiot. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. He's a complete and total moron. I don't like to blame the victim, but when you leave $500,000 worth of stuff in your rental car and you leave that rental car on the street in a major metropolitan area, you're kind of asking for it, aren't you? All right, the story of A-Rod's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lindoyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lindoyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free, no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. That's on the radio, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. And then we've also got the YouTube stream, streaming live. The YouTube channel, Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake. Okay, so there's a report out that the one and only Alex Rodriguez, it's probably not the only Alex Rodriguez, but the one you know as A-Rod, had $500,000 in jewelry and electronics stolen from a rental car. A thief stole $500,000 worth of belongings from A-Rod's rental car Sunday in San Francisco, according to Evan Cernovsky and Phil Madier of the San Francisco Chronicle. Sometime between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m., someone broke into a car in that location and stole a camera, a laptop, miscellaneous jewelry, and a bag, according to Officer Adam Lobsinger, a San Francisco police spokesman. Rodriguez was in the Bay Area for ESPN's broadcast of the San Francisco Giants' 9-6 win over the Phillies on Sunday. Rodriguez had parked the car about 3 blocks away from the Giants' Oracle Park. The San Francisco Chronicle has been tracking the number of car break-ins throughout the year. Police received reports of 2,150 break-ins in July, which was down from the same period in 2018. And Rodriguez had $500,000 in stuff in his rental car 3 blocks away, parking on the street. I live in a pretty good little neighborhood. There's a rash of car break-ins here and there. That said, I don't have near $500,000 worth of things. I don't have that kind of stuff. Jewelry and laptops and all that. I mean, I've got some valuable stuff, but I never leave it in my car. People think I'm weird. You know, I'll go into Starbucks or something, meet up with my buddy John for a coffee, and I'm wearing my backpack. And he's like, what, did you just come from the bus stop? And I'm like, no, bro, I don't leave this in my car. My backpack does not get left in my car. Because if I lose the stuff in my backpack, I am royally screwed. Laptops and equipment and files and stuff. When I do a radio show, I pretty much do it out of my backpack. I come here to the station, I unload my backpack, I do the radio show, and I leave. I've got stuff that's not valuable to anybody else, but it's valuable to me. But if somebody broke into my car and stole it, I'd be done. I'd be toast. So I don't even do that around here. Sure as hell not like in Midtown or downtown. I don't do it out east. Nowhere. Because you're not safe. You're not safe. You think you're in a good neighborhood, it's an illusion. People will break in your stuff no matter where you are. Now, if you're A-Rod and you got $500,000 worth of stuff, at least put it in the trunk. But you put it in plain view, so somebody just bust out the window and take your stuff, and you're A-Rod. Come on, man. Can you not get a media pass? You're broadcasting for ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and they won't let you park like at the ballpark, like in a parking lot with an attendant? Hell, I was a lowly producer for a Major League Baseball team, and I had a media parking pass. I got to park behind the gate, and I wasn't A-Rod. Good Lord. So, yeah, I don't like to blame the victims here, but you leave stuff in your car. They always say that. Don't leave stuff in your car. All right, coming up, hashtag Epstein suicide. More details on that story.
KWAM, your news and information station with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Shanafy. It's a done deal. CBS and Viacom merging to form an entertainment giant with $28 billion in revenue. Correspondent Allison Keys.
The combined company will have a library of more than 140,000 premium TV episodes, plus more than 3,600 film titles. That includes fan favorites such as Star Trek and Mission Impossible, plus more than 740 series. The channels involved include Showtime, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, and BET. In the U.S. alone, the company will have the highest share of viewing among key audiences, including kids, African Americans, and Hispanics.
Viacom CEO Bob Bakish will lead the reunited Viacom-CBS. The stock market is rallying on a decision by the Trump administration delaying tariffs on some Chinese goods until after the Christmas shopping season, including cell phones, laptops, video games, toys, clothing, and shoes. CBS's Art Cashin.
It was getting to the point where the market was concerned that maybe China was going to wait out the trade talks into next year's election. This has re-inspired them, and that's why we had this big pop in the market.
More from reporter Diane King Hall.
The government has kicked the can down the road to December, and that gives some wiggle room for the holiday shopping season. Retailers, toy companies had been suffering as a result of looming tariffs that were initially set to hit September. Now that they've been pushed to December, that gives them some breathing room to see how these companies perform during the holiday shopping season.
Hong Kong airport closed for a second day. Pro-democracy protesters clashing with riot police and barricading doors to the terminal. CBS's Deborah Pavitt is there.
there's increasing confrontation with passengers. It remains to be seen what this will do, whether it will lose them sympathy as international visitors are now getting fed up with the delays and having to wait and not being able to get on their planes to return home or come into Hong Kong. Hong Kong is also a busy destination as a transit to other parts of Asia. So once again, that is also messing with people's holiday plans.
The head of U.S. Special Operations Command, Army General Richard Clark, has ordered an ethics review of his commando forces, a reaction to recent incidents of bad behavior and some criminal allegations. CBS News military analyst Mike Lyons.
It's been going on for a few years, underlying currents with Navy SEALs leaving the service and writing books and some of the conduct that's been displayed downrange. So General Clark has decided to put together a committee to figure out what is going on ethically within his command and to try to come up with some courses of action to correct it.
On Wall Street right now, the Dow is up 402 points, the NASDAQ up 155. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.com, or download the app to try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
Where's the beef? Vicki Barker reports.
When students return to London's Goldsmiths University this fall, they'll find beef has been banned from all student dining halls because of its unacceptably big carbon footprint.
I would say it was Goldsmiths taking responsibility for their share of carbon emissions.
Student Council President Joe Leem says students, faculty, and administrators have been galvanized by the UN's warning that the world has 12 years to fight irreversible global warming.
It's not something small. It is a catastrophe that we have on our hands if we don't intervene.
The ultimate goal, to make Goldsmiths carbon neutral by 2025. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
Researchers at Baylor College of Medicine say a high-fat diet can turn off the gut-brain connection that lets you know when you're full. So not only do you eat the wrong foods, you're overeating the wrong foods. The key is gastric inhibitory polypeptide, a hormone produced in the gut involved in managing the body's energy balance. High-fat foods increase levels of GIP. Jim Shenevy, CBS News.
George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump. What do they have in common? Besides the presidency and their meetings in the White House Situation Room, a conference table adorned with elegant leather conference table pads from the elegantoffice.com. Power players have written on and conversed over these top-grain leather conference pads and accessories for years. They protect tables from scratches and watermarks with a designer touch. It's time to add them to your conference room and enhance the overall tone and appearance. Your conference room will exude elegance for those power meetings with leather accessories from the elegantoffice.com. The elegantoffice.com, the nation's largest dealer of Picasso-branded leather desk sets and conference room accessories. For a free catalog, call 866-433-7573. Order today and ask about having your company logo embossed for free, a $95 value. Call 866-433-7573, 866-433-7573, or visit theelegantoffice.com.
Boy, that's what I'm talking about, Jake. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can watch the show, too. That's Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake on YouTube. Tell your friends about the Nation of Jake. And also to subscribe to the Nation of Jake podcast. Have that usually uploaded shortly after the program concludes. I've been slacking a little past few days. But I will do better. I will resolve to get the podcast to you as soon as humanly possible. Things are just real busy lately. Okay? You got the kids back in school. We got kids doing soccer. Congratulations to Eva, my daughter. She made that competitive team, which I'm really thrilled for her. She wanted to play competitive soccer. Her friends are playing competitive soccer. It sounds cool, yeah, but then I started reading the fine print. I'm like, oh, wow, it's expensive. Are you sure you want to compete? How about we go back to rec soccer? Well, that was affordable. It's a competitive junt, man. This thing is expensive. And all the time they're going to practice like 2-3 times a week. And you have games and jamborees. I have to like call people. They've got like a whole website set up, like a whole interface, like a grid. Like you log into the competitive soccer grid, and it's just as much work for the parents it is the kids. Man, when I was a kid, my dad let me sign up for baseball with something called the GYAA. It doesn't exist anymore. The GYAA, the Germantown Youth Athletic Association. And my dad said, oh, this is great. You guys play ball at Cameron Brown. We live right by Cameron Brown. I don't have to take my kid to a game. Get on your bike and ride over there. And I did. And it wasn't very competitive. It was just a bunch of guys out there throwing the ball around a little bit. It wasn't travel ball and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do this competitive soccer thing when it's not 115 degrees outside, as there's an excessive heat warning, which has been busy, all right? We got that. We got back to school. You got all kinds of stuff happening. You got these fall TV shows coming out. You're keeping up with what's going on the Twitter. Right now, the biggest thing on Twitter is hashtag Fredo. We talked about hashtag Fredo earlier in the program. If you missed it, get caught up on the Nation of Jake podcast. I'll have it uploaded as soon as I'm done chasing down all this paperwork for competitive soccer. All right, but the hashtag Fredo thing is funny because it's such a nothing deal. Some guy approached Chris Cuomo from CNN. He's their lead anchor in prime time. Chris Cuomo, brother of Andrew Cuomo, who's the governor of New York. Son of Mario Cuomo, I guess, who was also the governor of New York. So this Cuomo family, they are Italian. They happen to be Italian. The Cuomos, the Cuomosexuals. They, I guess, take great offense to any references to The Godfather. Because I guess that's something, as a recovering Italian, all right, just so you know, I was Italian most of my life until I found out I wasn't. All right, this is something that we brought up on the program a few different times. My mom's maiden name is Spatorno. My name is Jake Anthony, right? So you just say it, Jake Anthony Spatorno. Jake Anthony Spatorno. Jake Anthony Spatorno. He ain't no Fredo. Don't call Jake Anthony Spatorno Fredo. You know what'll happen? You'll get upset. He'll throw you down the stairs. Right? So I grew up Italian. And then through my aunt's 23andMe, I found out that I'm less Italian and more French. So I'm all, you don't call me Fredo. You call me Fredo, that is like calling me the N-word. I guess Javert would be the Fredo, right? I don't know. Either way, as a recovering Italian, I was engaged to this Italian chick, and it was awful. I'm so glad that I didn't marry her. So yeah, as a recovering Italian, I'm going to tell you right now, Cuomo, it ain't a big deal. Like the whole Italian thing, it's overrated. Don't equate yourself with the Corleones or the Sopranos. It's just not that cool. Being Italian, hey, the hair, oh, it ain't that cool. And I'm so glad I'm not anymore. I'm so glad I'm no longer Italian. It's fantastic. It's actually quite freeing. Like I don't feel like my heritage is under attack if somebody makes a movie reference. It's awesome. I also don't have to do the old tough guy thing all the time now. I can just be me. I can just be a cool guy. I'm way cooler now that I'm not Italian anymore. See what I'm saying? So just cut the cord there, Cuomo. And so either way, the Fredo thing, it was a viral video. It called Cuomo Fredo. He turned into like a roid rager monster and started threatening people. And then he said that calling an Italian guy Fredo was like calling a black guy the N-word. And there are actually people who were giving that some sort of credence, and it's silly. And it's the number one topic on Twitter. Go figure. We got tons of other stuff. We got a hashtag Hong Kong. Things are going crazy in Hong Kong. We'll talk about Hong Kong in a little bit. We've got the aftermath of the Curtis Ray Watson prison escape. He has been captured. He was captured by the TBI on Sunday morning, but now there are some questions into the protocol of the prison. I mean, why are you letting that guy go out and cut grass? And then also the reward money. There was a $57,000 reward for information leading to the capture of Curtis Ray Watson, who murdered a prison worker before he left and went on a 5-day a manhunt. Or he was manhunted for 5 days, whatever. And so we'll get into that. Like, were the protocols followed? And if they were, they suck. Because how does this happen? We'll get into those things as well. But right now, there is some new information in the hashtag Epstein suicide. Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire financier, whatever that is, he's also an alleged sex trafficker, convicted prostitutioner, soliciting prostitutes way back in 2003. Went to jail for a little bit for that. This is a bad guy. A lot of connections. Way up high. Billionaires, royalty, politicians. Well, we have some sources saying that Jeffrey Epstein was found hanging in his lower Manhattan jail cell with a bedsheet wrapped around his neck and secured to the top of the bunk bed. The convicted pedophile, who was 6 feet tall, was he a convicted pedophile? He was a convicted, I guess that's what it says here. This is from the Post, the New York Post. Apparently killed himself by kneeling toward the floor and strangling himself with a makeshift noose, just like in the movies. Law enforcement confirmed Monday. He hadn't been checked for several hours there in his cell. Epstein was unresponsive when he was discovered at the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Correctional Center around 6:30 a.m. on Saturday. Staffers attempted to revive him, and he was taken to the infirmary inside the lockup, then transported by ambulance to the New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The FBI and Justice Department are both investigating the incident, which U.S. Attorney General William Barr on Monday blamed on serious irregularities at this facility. Not happy about this guy being dead. Now, whether he killed himself or he had help or it was ordered, that's really the question now. I think most people would just say, hey, the simplest explanation is probably the most correct, and that he killed himself. That he was off suicide watch, they gave him his bed sheets back, and he promptly took that opportunity to choke himself out on a bed sheet, hang himself, strangulation, however you want to say. He killed himself. But there's so many weird things going on here. Okay, they said that one of the guards was a substitute guard, that this was not the regular guard that was supposed to be watching him. You also have the fact that the surveillance video, the cameras happen to be out. There's that. It was 24 hours after these documents come out implicating, so a couple of Democrat politicians as well as a prince. And so, yeah, just a lot of stuff here. Now they're saying that the warden of the Manhattan Correctional Facility has been reassigned, and then 2 of the guards have been suspended, or they're on leave. Now, I guess I wonder where this warden is. Is this warden, has he been reassigned to a cushy gig, say in the Caribbean? Where is he? We would like to know. And then these guys who are on leave, are they on leave without pay? They getting some kind of bonus? Have they been set up in Bermuda? We don't know. What we do know is that a New York Times columnist, James B. Stewart, has a piece today saying that Epstein told me he had major dirt on powerful people. In a report published Monday in the New York Times, Stewart describes the day exactly a year ago that he visited the cavernous Manhattan mansion of Jeffrey Epstein for a 90-minute conversation with the disgraced billionaire who was found dead in his cell on Saturday. The overriding impression I took away from our roughly 90-minute conversation was that Mr. Epstein knew an astonishing number of rich, famous, and powerful people and had photos to prove it. He also claimed to know a great deal about these people, some of it potentially damaging or embarrassing, including details about their supposed sexual proclivities and recreational drug use. Stewart adds, so one of my first thoughts on hearing Mr. Epstein's suicide was that many prominent men and at least a few women must be breathing sighs of relief that whatever Mr. Epstein knew, he has taken it with him. Not so fast. A guy like this, a guy who has already been to jail one time, been to prison one time, he kept records of this stuff. He had to have. There has to be records. He had like a madam who was in charge of setting politicians or billionaires or royalty or his cronies up with these underage girls. There's a paper trail. In fact, I believe the FBI raided his place on that pedophile island. Good God, how gross is this entire story? The guy had the Lolita Express taking people to pedophile island. Oh, suicide was too good for him. So, I mean, if you just like do the math, not difficult math. A really rich guy who had damning information about really rich and powerful people shows up dead in his cell with all the irregularities as referenced by William Barr, the Attorney General. I mean, are you really going to blame people for thinking that there's foul play? People suspecting that something is amiss here, something is rotten in the state of Denmark, so to speak? I don't know. It's not crazy at all. Now, blaming the Clintons, the Clinton suicide squad, Clinton body count. Something we went over yesterday about the whole list of all the people that the Clintons have been connected to who have committed suicide. Number one, I was talking about that list being, I guess, not credible. It's not a credible list, the one that's been circulating. That's a chain email. It had Barry Seal on it. I went over the whole thing with Barry Seal. Had nothing to do with the Clintons. And his death had nothing to do with Bill or Hillary Clinton or even the whole Arkansas political machine. Bill and Hillary kind of, built their national political machine from. Had nothing to do with it. However, it is kind of odd. The amount of people who have wound up dead who have been associated with the Clintons. I mean, it is, even if it was just 4, how many people do you know who have wound up suicided or died under mysterious circumstances while in solitary confinement? I mean, there's more than a few on that list who you can connect to the Clintons, but not all of them. I don't think the Clintons are good people. I think they've done underhanded stuff to get where they are. That said, I think it goes way higher than them. I think there's probably a coalition of rich, powerful billionaires who wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead. And so as all this information comes out, I guess you can put it in the context, or you can find a way to spin it into it being a conspiracy. But I guess we're just going to have to still wait and see. I mean, I still think that the fact there's no surveillance video, a guard was a substitute guard, 24 hours after all this information comes out, right after he gets taken off suicide watch at the request of his attorneys, that he was just left. Oh, by the way, the other thing. They said that there was shrieking and screaming. Shrieking and screaming when the guards went in to revive him. Were the guards shrieking and screaming? Or was Jeffrey Epstein shrieking and screaming? Maybe he was like, I'm choking. Well, you just tried to hang yourself, and maybe he's trying to breathe. Maybe it was painful, whatever it was. Or maybe he was being choked out by that substitute guard who was really a hitman. I don't know. These are all things that we can talk about. But for now, we just know what we know, and it's suicide is the case that they gave me. All right, coming up, we've got the news cruise, the latest on the aftermath of Curtis Ray Watson, who escaped from the West Tennessee State Penitentiary and was then caught by the TBI. What's next in that case? We'll do that in the news cruise. But coming up, we need to go over the big story that's going on that nobody's talking about. Everybody's talking about hashtag Fredo when the big stories happen half a world away in Hong Kong. We'll do that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs, those little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows: storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
I'm Ed Parami, the owner of JanPro, the franchise that helps you be your own boss. JanPro is now the fastest growing franchise in the entire world for the second year in a row by Entrepreneur Magazine. We are growing so fast we need new business owners right here in Memphis right now. So if you want to be your own boss and open your own business, call JanPro at 901-683-4900 to see just how easy it is to be your own boss. For as little as $950 down, you can be a part of JanPro. Don't waste another minute. Call 901-683-4900.
Hi, this is Governor Phil Bryant. Who serves as Mississippi's next state treasurer is very important. That's why I'm endorsing my good friend David McRae. Now, David's not a career politician. He's a pro-Trump conservative with the business experience that prepared him to be our next state treasurer. I know David McRae will protect our credit rating, improve the returns on our investments, and be a watchdog of our tax dollars. You trusted me as governor, and now I'm asking you to trust me again and support my good friend David McRae for state treasurer.
David McRae, husband to Katie and father of 3. David is a fourth-generation Mississippian, a Christian who shares our traditional values. McRae's department store was a real Mississippi success story. A successful businessman today, David McRae is ready to serve as our state treasurer. A supporter of the Second Amendment and pro-life, a pro-Trump conservative Republican. One of us, not a professional politician. David McRae for state treasurer.
Paid for by David McRae for treasurer.
This is Sherry from the 19 Strong Show. The politics in Memphis can be unnecessarily complicated and sometimes just downright shady. On Saturdays, the 19 Strong team works hard to dissect the issues and shed some light on the council and administration's decisions and how they truly impact you and Memphis. Join me and my better half for the latest council news and colorful commentary. On Saturdays at 1, join us for your weekly chat rant right here on KWAM 990.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Again, one word, run it all together, Nation of Jake. And then we've also got the Facebook and the Twitter, at Nation of Jake. I just got a tweet from Jamie the host. Jamie. Oh, he's responding to a tweet that I made. Hey, reading about this beef ban. There's a beef ban. Goldsmiths University in London is scrapping all beef products from its campus. So, I asked the question, what does Wellington taste like by itself? I mean, just Wellington? I mean, no beef in the beef Wellington there at Goldsmiths University in London. And then Jamie, the host, says it probably tastes like stroganoff, give or take. Which I guess that's a good answer. And if you want to tweet at me, you can do that at NationofJake on the Twitter. We got Fredo, which is trending on Twitter. But there are much more important things on Twitter right now, really just in the news, not just on Twitter. I go there because it's just a good timeline of just what's happening. People are tweeting about stuff constantly, so I follow a lot of news organizations. I saw today things in Hong Kong are escalating. Hong Kong riot police clash with activists inside the partly closed airport. Now imagine right now in Memphis, Tennessee, where we are, if the airport was closed because activists were clashing with police. How big a deal would that be? That'd be national news, international news. It'd be crazy. Well, this was happening in Hong Kong. Riot police and demonstrators clashed again Tuesday inside Hong Kong International, just hours after the disruption grounded all outbound flights for the second half of the day. Protesters started a mass sit-in Monday and expanded their presence Tuesday. Police ultimately moved in and began arresting activists. Police used tear gas to disperse crowds. They're fighting. They're all like standing on the baggage claim, like on the conveyors. It's all out. Everybody was a kung fu fighting in the Hong Kong airport, and that's probably racist to say. I apologize. But they are fighting. They're rioting. There's all kinds of crazy stuff happening. And this all goes back to Hong Kong kind of being its own thing. I mean, we think of Hong Kong, you think of movies, you think, the lights. I mean, Hong Kong, it's like Times Square, right? I mean, you think of this. I mean, it's a major port for getting other places in Asia. And it's largely been one of the more free parts of China. In fact, for like 100 years, it was under British rule. And then it got handed over in 97. And these are things that we know happened kind of like in the haze of our lives. I remember I was a senior in high school, and I was like, what's going on here? There was a big ceremony, a lot of pomp and circumstance. The British handing Hong Kong back to China. All right, so, if you kind of go through, why are they protesting? Well, let's start from the beginning. Somebody who's half paying attention, or maybe somebody who's young, might say, isn't Hong Kong part of China? Why is Hong Kong and China, why are they at odds? Well, it's a semi-autonomous region. All right, the city was an outpost for the British Empire for 156 years, during which time it developed into a global business hub. You see, it wasn't under an authoritarian dictatorship in communism like China. So it became a global business hub. In 1984, in a joint declaration, the British agreed to give the city back in 1997 at the end of a 99-year lease on much of the land. China promised to allow a high degree of autonomy for 50 years, including guarantees of free speech, capitalist markets, and English common law under a one-country, two-systems arrangement. Now, you don't enter an arrangement like that without there being some hiccups. All right, it just doesn't work. It's like having a family where you have different rules for the kids. It's just not going to work out for very long. Even if the kids agree to it, you're going to get a lot of, that's not fair. And how does that apply in this situation? That kind of thing. One country, two systems, really difficult to do. The extradition law is where this all started. Okay, they have this extradition law. It's the Fugitive Offenders and Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters Legislation Amendment Bill in 2019. All right, proposed by Hong Kong's government in February, covers mainland China and other jurisdictions that don't have extradition agreements with Hong Kong. So, this was sparked by a case of a Hong Kong man who was accused of murdering his girlfriend in Taiwan, but couldn't be sent back to Taiwan because there's no legal framework. There's like non-extradition. You could conceivably commit crimes and flee to Hong Kong. You can go live a life of crime in China and then go seek cover, take refuge in Hong Kong, and the Chinese government can't extradite you for your crimes even though you're still in the country, but you're under the other system. The Hong Kong government says the proposed law wouldn't ensure the city doesn't become a haven for suspected criminals. So Hong Kong was going to enact this, right? But what's the problem? Now, opponents say the law could open the door for anyone, including political dissidents or civil rights activists, who runs afoul of the Chinese government to be arrested on trumped-up charges in Hong Kong and sent to the mainland, where they would face what the U.S. State Department called China's capricious legal system. So they just don't want it to be abused by China. They're saying, look, we get it. Like, we don't want a bunch of criminals seeking refuge in Hong Kong. We don't want those people here stinking up the place. However, we don't trust the government of China to limit the power and only go after those credibly accused criminals. They could essentially, possibly, extradite people they don't like. People who maybe go to China to protest. People who go to China to activate. People who go and looking to make changes in China, they can go to Hong Kong and be extradited. The capricious legal system, as they say. It's kind of like making it up as we go along kind of deal over in China. Critics noted the role in handling extradition requests. Currently, the legislature can block extraditions. The government says it amended the bill to protect human rights and ensure suspects aren't extradited for political offenses. So, the president of China is being viewed as a guy who is chipping away at the freedoms and chipping away at Hong Kong's autonomy. Hong Kong, they're like, hey, we kind of like being our own thing. So we really don't want anybody from China getting too involved. But this extradition policy that they proposed, well, they proposed it. But the people of Hong Kong who are against it, and then that's where you are. Is you're saying, hey, we don't want China in our business. But I guess the problem is that you're part of China. And this one country, two systems thing was destined to fail. Think about it in the United States. If we had a one country, two systems kind of deal, if we had a portion of the country that the federal law didn't apply to, that undermines your whole system, doesn't it? So it's just not a good idea. I mean, all of China should be like Hong Kong. I mean, they should be all free. They should have your representative government. They should have all those things. China will tell you, well, we're working towards that. Up until, some years ago, we were still a developing economy. And now because of our population and our resources, we are one of the top economies. But we both know that comes at the cost, at the expense of the people of China. We've got, in China, people forced to work in factories, forced to live there, sleep there. They dirty up the air in China. There's not a lot of regard for the environment over there. The sweatshops, factories, they're making shoes, they're making phones, and they're doing so under a system that doesn't really treat people all that well. They got a limit on how many kids you can have, whatever. They got all kinds of crazy stuff going on in China. The problem I have right now is that the U.S. response, it hasn't really been very vocal in supporting the people of Hong Kong. Meanwhile, you got people in Hong Kong, you know what they're doing? They're singing the U.S. national anthem. They are waving American flags. These are people who still look to us as that beacon, the shining city on the hill that Reagan talked about, of freedom. And take a moment now and look over there. And those are people who are seriously worried, and rightfully so, about their freedoms being taken away. And they're waving the American flag, and they have signs that say, we need a Second Amendment. Look over there. And then we over here are flirting with the idea of putting somebody like Bernie Sanders in power, or Elizabeth Warren in power, or Kamala Harris in power. And those are people who want to chip away and erode your freedoms. And I'm not being dramatic here. They want to take more of your money. They want to limit your ability to bear arms. They want to limit your ability for free speech. They absolutely do. I guarantee you, that 90%, if not all, of those Democrat candidates for president in 2020, if they could, they would criminalize you calling people names or saying things that they don't like. Absolutely 100%. So this is a moment. It could be one of those moments. And we should not ignore it in favor of hashtag Fredo, because some guy called Chris Cuomo Fredo and that he wanted to fight him and threatened him to throw him down the stairs, because that is trending way higher. People are talking more about The Godfather today than they are what's going on in Hong Kong. I'm with the Hong Kong people. I'm with the protesters. Anybody in a foreign country who is going to wave the American flag saying we want to be like them, not only am I going to support those people, I'm also going to point out, hey, they have a point. It could happen here, and we can't let it. Can't let it happen. I stand with Hong Kong, or whatever I can do. Let me know. My friends in Hong Kong, I'm not sure. They haven't called yet. They haven't texted. They've been busy rioting and fighting with police. They're on the conveyors of the baggage claim in the Hong Kong airports. That's what's going on in Hong Kong. Feel free to go read more about it. I will tweet a link to a nice explainer on it all if you need more details, so you can follow me on Twitter at NationofJake. All right, what's going to happen with Curtis Ray Watson? We know that he will be tried for murder. Oh, but what's going to happen with the other guys who routinely cut grass at the prison yard there at the West Tennessee State Penitentiary? Does it screw it up for them? Does Curtis Ray Watson's escape? And also, who gets the money? Who gets the reward? How will that be divvied up, or should it? We will cover that and more in the news cruise. That's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Special Report. Reunited, CBS and Viacom have once again joined forces in a major merger of entertainment companies, combining CBS's television stations, network, and Showtime with Viacom's MTV, BET, and Comedy Central.
It makes sense when they split back in 2006. American media and world media was a very, very different story. Now, of course, we've had the Disney-Fox merger, the AT&T Time Warner merger, and the idea of aggregating all of this content together is something that everybody's looking to do in the age of Netflix.
And Robert Thompson, a mass media expert at Syracuse University.
As each of these other companies are deciding, why don't we have our own streaming service and use our own content for that, everybody is going to be scrambling, of course, for content and enough content to keep people paying subscriptions.
CBS News Special Report. I'm Jim Shenlevy.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
Your dog is a furry member of your family, and they deserve the highest level of care. Dogtopia has award-winning daycare, boarding, and spa services. They are the safest, cleanest, and most transparent dog daycare and boarding option for you. The best part? You can check in with your dog anytime on the video stream on your phone. Dogtopia, located at Carriage Crossing. Find out more at dogtopia.com to schedule your dog's best day ever.
This is Clark Howard. If you are a contact lens wearer, you know you're paying so much more for your contact lenses than you were not that many years ago. And the reason is the contact lens industry is basically a price-fixing cartel today. And so the industry has worked heavily to ingratiate itself with doctors to write prescription lenses that are very, very expensive. And most people end up just going to the doctor who does their contact lens examination and have him or her issue their very expensive lenses. But now there are people doing something about it. Costco is doing a huge business with its own lenses called Kirkland Signature, which can save you a ton, including other online sellers discounting. There's also an organization that is very controversial called Hubble, which can save you a ton on your contact lenses.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. We're streaming live on YouTube. Just go on to YouTube, find Nation of Jake, subscribe to that channel, tell your friends to do the same. You can also hop on the Facebook page. I have a question there on Facebook. Other than Fredo, what other fictional character can double as a racial slur? And I don't mean to get too racial with this, but the joke is for other nationalities. Like if Chris Cuomo was saying that Fredo is like a racial slur to Italians, what other fictional characters would offend, say, like a Scotsman or a Frenchman? I'm thinking Macbeth would be that would be kind of offensive. Earl, you got one?
During World War, I think the Americans called the French frogs.
Frogs?
And I don't know because they ate frog legs.
So
maybe.
Like Michigan J. Frog, if you called them, or Kermit.
And then the British were always called limeys because they ate limes.
Okay, yeah, limey?
Yeah.
You limey? I like it. That's it. I was thinking more like, Macbeth to a Scotsman or Javert to a Frenchman. And these were villains and, people from film that are non-flattering. All right, because Chris Cuomo was called Fredo, and he's saying that's an Italian slur. No, Wap and Dago are Italian slurs. I'm not sure if I can say those on the radio, but I just did. That said, I'd like more, but I don't want it to be I may delete the thing because people I believe are just going to take the wrong direction with it. That said, you can go check it out yourself, and if you have something fun or witty to contribute, that would be better than just being mean and gross, if you will. But that said, it's the internet, and I fully expect people to be mean and gross. Let's get the news cruise going. It's a leisurely look at the headlines, and we do it every day about this time. It's brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services, the News Cruise.
News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you, the News Cruise, full of exciting news, the News Cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes.
Just Windows Home Services. They can help you out with not just windows, but also blinds, gutters, shutters, ceiling fans. They do pressure washing. So if you want to make sure that your patio, your pool deck, your walkways are all ready for back to school, gonna have a back to school pool party coming up here in the next few weeks. Call Just Windows Home Services. They can do that for you. Also, reports of West Nile. We're getting a few from Shelby County and also from down in Mississippi. You want to make sure that your gutters are clear of any debris. They're breeding grounds for mosquitoes, and you need to get rid of that stuff. So the guys at Just Windows Home Services can help you. Just Windows Home Services, give them a call, 751-3934. That's 751-3934. Online, justwindowsmemphis.com. 20% off if you tell them the Nation of Jake sent you. We have, locally, everybody's talking about the heat an excessive heat warning has been issued, again, for the entire Mid-South. That's going through 8 o'clock tonight. I believe right now they're talking about 115-degree heat index right now. Mid-90s, but the number that counts is that heat index. It is hot. It is humid. Humid, even. Not human. More humid than humid, as the old white zombie would say. People are getting heat-related illnesses showing up at the old emergency room. Heat stroke, heat exhaustion. You just need to be careful out there and hydrate. That's really it. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Stay inside. They got the cooling centers open. Lewis Senior Center on North Parkway. Also, I find a good cooling center to be the freezer section of your Kroger or the beer cave in your Circle K. And go in there, take off your pants, build yourself a throne out of cases of Natty Light, and you'll stay cool. And you'll look cool.
Of the Hong Kong police and all these rioters that are taking over the airport.
Oh, yeah, the Hong Kong thing. That's still going.
Yeah, they're beating them over the head with batons and
I'm telling you, man, the Hong Kong thing is a story that not enough people are paying attention to. Because you look over there, and these people are protesting because they live in Hong Kong, and things have been awesome there for 150 years. And they're starting to see that.
Well, it's capitalism. That's what drives Hong Kong.
Correct. Hong Kong is a capitalist free country or free part of China. And they are protesting because they feel like the Chinese government in Beijing could chip away at their freedoms. And they're ready to fight about it. Think about that real quick. People in Hong Kong are ready to fight because they feel like this government in China, in Beijing, could chip away at their freedoms.
Well,
meanwhile,
anybody gets in trouble, they want to ship them to mainland China to
right,
face trial
and
be incarcerated.
Right, but this was legislation that was brought on by people in Hong Kong, but the legislature in Hong Kong, but the citizens are like, no, we don't want anything. We do not want China to have any power to do this kind of stuff because they could target people and it would give China a reason and a right legally to get into Hong Kong. Listen, all I'm saying is this. They are upset and willing to fight because of the chance, because of the perception of China coming in or Beijing coming in.
Sort of like the red flag laws that they're talking about enacting.
Give an inch, they take a mile.
That's exactly.
Meanwhile, we're over here begging our government to take away our freedoms.
Well, we're not.
We're not. You and I aren't.
No.
But there are people who would. Like
They think the government can think better than they can.
They're worried more about security than freedom.
I was just talking to a guy today I know that married a woman from mainland China, and she spent the last 20 years trying to get citizenship here. She's finally going to get it, I think, at the end of the month. And he said they have no idea, the people that want socialism. He said socialism, that's just the beginning, and then there's communism, and you have nothing. And you say you want everything free, you'll get it for free because you won't have anything to buy it with.
Yeah, they'll just divide up all the shortages. Number one, you want to know about communism and socialism. Talk to somebody who grew up in China or somebody who grew up in Soviet Russia. Talk to those people about socialism and communism and everybody getting the same and the government taking care of all your needs. Talk to those people. They will change your mind very quickly. Got a couple minutes left here on the news cruise. The governor, Bill Lee of Tennessee, he says that protocol was followed prior to the escape of convict Curtis Watson, suspected of killing Department of Corrections employee, but questions remain. So they say that Curtis Ray Watson, who escaped from the West Tennessee State Penitentiary, he escaped, but all protocols were followed in advance of that. He was a trustee, an inmate granted special privileges as a trustworthy person. That, I believe, is a stretch. How was this guy a trustee when he was a violent criminal? This is a guy who aggravated kidnapping, especially aggravated assault, beat his wife up with a baseball bat. He was also convicted at one point of especially aggravated child abuse. This is a guy who should have had no special privileges, especially access to vehicles, a tractor. Look, the protocols may have been followed, but that does not mean the protocols were good. In fact, I'll go ahead and say that the protocols, if followed, it just illustrates that your protocols suck, and you probably need to take a look at those. And now they're talking about the reward money, $57,000 for the reward for information leading to the capture of Curtis Ray Watson. They're talking about how they're going to divvy it up, I guess. I think that Harvey Taylor's going to get it. He needs to get all of it.
Yeah.
They're talking about how they're going to distribute it. And I'm like, you distribute it into the bank account of Harvey Taylor.
Yep.
He's a guy who got up 3:30 in the morning
and looked at
called,
his video and called him.
Called him, hey, he's here.
Now.
He's stealing drinks from my fridge. Come get him. This is the information you need.
And they found him, 30 yards from the house?
Yeah, look, they got like 220 tips or more. But
well, I sent my tip in. He's out there.
Right. The TBI tweeted, it's working to determine the most appropriate ways to distribute the reward. I'll make it very easy for you. His name is Harvey Taylor. He called you, and you caught him in his backyard. So
nobody else is involved in that.
Right, correct. Harvey Taylor, maybe, then let Harvey deal with how he wants to distribute his reward money.
You know what my father-in-law's name is? Harvey Taylor.
Really?
Yeah, he said, I don't know who this imposter woman named Ann is, but that's my money.
Ann Taylor, she's got a loft, I hear. I've spent much money at Ann Taylor Loft for my wife. She loved it. All right, well, that's it. Does it for the news cruise. It's still Elvis Week, and it may surprise you, during Elvis Week, where the most Elvis music gets streamed. It's not here.
No, overseas.
It's not here. No, I'll tell you next. Coming right here, the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Also Facebook, also Twitter, Nation of Jake. And the Nation of Jake podcast will be available for stream or download, depending on how you like to do it, on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and Spotify. I got some numbers from Spotify, not on my podcast, but on Elvis Presley. It's always interesting to see who's listening to Elvis Presley in year of our Lord 2019. I mean, he keeps amassing fans and amassing a following. There's really nothing like Elvis. Elvis of the time, putting out most of his music in the 50s and 60s, and then in the 70s, some. But you would think that it would just kind of like die down, that people would outgrow Elvis. The big Elvis fans, they would just start going extinct, and that Elvis would become, less of a big deal. But here we are, Elvis Week, and you got young people who are always discovering Elvis. But who is listening to Elvis right now? I mean, that's the question I have. At some point, say, for instance, my Aunt Linda. My Aunt Linda's been an Elvis fan forever. Okay, when she was young, she loved Elvis, and she still loves Elvis. Here we are in 2019. She'll still go out and buy like a new Elvis box set, you know? And I'm like, how do you not own everything the guy's ever recorded? But she'll still go out and buy it.
Well, I listened to the Elvis XM Sirius channel.
Right, yeah, Rob Grayson over there at Argo.
On Sunday, and yeah,
those guys do a great job. And so, turn on some
Elvis.
Elvis.
Songs I've never heard that'll come on there, and I go, man, I never heard that one. And not all of them were winners. Let me just say that.
Right, yeah, Elvis, he put out a lot of stuff, and a lot of people wrote stuff for Elvis. But you look at some of the statistics from Spotify, newly released numbers from Spotify when it comes to Elvis. Check it out. When it comes to U.S. states listening to Elvis, Tennessee is not number one. You would think.
But we've heard him.
Oh, you think so? You think it's kind of like, people from Memphis don't go to Graceland, people from Memphis don't run in Elvis?
When I first got here, and I found out, Elvis lives here. Well, did, and because he just passed away. I said, well, that would be really cool. You'd see him out. I said, it was Elvis. He grew up here.
Yeah, I guess you'd see him at Chicks games, stuff like you see him around town.
Yeah.
Kids used to go out and watch Elvis play with his, remote control airplanes over there and stuff. He was just a raise of guys, local band.
Yeah.
So, but it says here that Alaska is the number one state for streaming Elvis, followed by Arkansas and New Mexico, and then you got Tennessee and then Maine.
So Tennessee's in the top 10.
Top 5.
Wow.
Number 4. But we get a spike. Apparently Memphis and Tennessee gets a spike during Elvis week. Check this out. In 2019, Presley's music counts for 16.5 million hours of streaming, with more than 2.3 million playlists dedicated to Elvis. Elvis's music averages more than 9.9 million monthly listeners on Spotify. And Spotify is, it's an app. A lot of younger people are listening to Spotify. Sure. You don't have as many boomers and older.
It's a younger thing.
Right, it's a younger thing.
So
but he's still getting
people.
In crazy,
See, that's why you
crazy
got that
numbers.
cease and desist from Graceland, because you made that song up about Elvis.
I didn't make that song up. That was an Elvis song.
But you changed the words.
I didn't change the words. That was Elvis Presley doing a song for Jaws. And I resent the fact that you think that I would fraudulently put that out there.
I didn't say you fraudulently did. I said
I got a cease and desist because of you.
You made it up.
It says here that Presley's appeal remains broad. It's not often we see an artist stream in the similar numbers across different age groups, but Elvis appeals to 18 to 22-year-olds almost as much as listeners 45 to 59. That's insane. 20% of all Elvis streaming on Spotify are people 18 to 22. So those Elvis fans and the ones abroad, they'll keep the king relevant forever. Forever. All right, happy Elvis week. Earl's up next. I'll be back tomorrow at 1. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
CBS News at the top of every hour. Serving Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. The latest news stories are here. This is KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
I'm Jim Shenevy. One day after